It's always our rival. It's a team who scores a lot of goals, offensive weapons, either out of possession, newly added in transition this year, much better, and have shown defensive stability. So really a complete team this year. Improved in those two phases that the latter two phases that I mentioned. So um, a more complete roster, offensive tool set, if you will, and yeah, they're top of the table with us. So a team who has found a way to get results and not just play well, but get results at the same time. So should be a really exciting match.
What makes Pooch so difficult to deal with?
Well, he's really talented with the ball in transition and open spaces. Has a clinical first touch and finish. Um, those are enough, really. Those are enough qualities to hurt teams, and he has the freedom in his team to find pockets and to at times cheat a little bit, um, but has the ability to capitalize. So it's I guess you could say the word cheating, or you could say it's tactical. Um, to bait teams into these transition moments, which I think they've been excellent at. And it's not just him this year. It's Peck, it's Pansil. Fangundes has been good for him when he's been gone. And you have a finisher up top. So it's really a quite potent offense, and certainly things we need to take care of.
When you look at the Galaxy as a whole, what do you admire about that club?
I admire a lot of clubs, but the clubs I admire are overseas.
But what do you admire about them?
Um,
Some aspect of what they do that you admire.
well, I think in transition this year they've been good. Looks a lot like us, if to be honest, last year, and that's always a nice tool to have, a weapon to have.
Do you think because of the changes to the personnel that they added, that they were trying to follow a little bit of what LAFC found and trying to mimic that to get like success? Because it's like today's league in a way.
I don't think so. I don't think we're the only team who values transition, who values keeping a clean sheet, who values possession at the right times, and who values goal-oriented possession. That's not exclusive to either club here in LA. Those are traits and tools that every good team around the team needs. Every good team around the world needs in order to be successful in that particular league. So none of these qualities or traits are exclusive to either club.
Steve, you mentioned in the beginning that when we looked at the players individually, that not everybody was at that like optimal level, and now it seems that everyone is finding that level individually, and it's showing collectively as well. Do you see that, or how have you guys worked with the team to kind of like find that throughout the players on the pitch?
To what phase are you referring to? Of not being up
So
to
was that
potential?
more like before this winning
A-
streak?
Anything in okay before
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, it's always important to be strong as a collective in team sports, especially in a continuous sport like football is. Um, and the individuals will profit from that. Form comes and goes. Individual form, what you need to minimize is poor form, and that's when having a deeper roster comes into play, and rotations come into play. Managing the loading, managing the physical, managing weather, managing travel, all of that becomes important when you want to avoid putting players in a position where they cannot succeed. I think early on, we struggle a little bit away from home with our decision making and not really being focused as a group in key areas of the field and of the game, and that has turned around. And I think individuals, we had good performances in those phases as well individually, but we couldn't come up with results because as a collective we failed, and we are succeeding as a collective now. And so what you see and what we all like to talk about and write about are the individual performances, but for me, seeing the collective now succeed and seeing them coach themselves and come up with solutions themselves is particularly why I do this job.
Return to the Rose Bowl. Do you understand why this game's at the Rose Bowl? Do you wish it was in Carson? Does it make a difference for you guys one way or another?
I don't think what I say matters. um, Why? No, I don't understand why it's there. I think this will be the last time. Next year we'll have 15 teams in our league, so I don't think there's that odd game that you need to create because of the odd number of opponents. So I think it'll be the last time, but why not enjoy it? Hopefully we get a good crowd and come out on top.
Do you see yourselves ever returning the favor, hosting at the Coliseum? Is that something that may be intriguing for the club in one way or another?
I don't know. I think that's a question for John and the club. I don't think, unless they add another team in the West or take a team, I don't really see how that can happen. Unless we give up a game at BMO, but I don't think we'll do that.
Does the Rose Bowl make the game different, more special, given the history of it, given its iconic status, especially in this area?
It gives it more fans, but I'm not sure it makes it more special. But more fans can make it more emotional, which is good. But it's another MLS game, and there's 3 points on the line.
Just with the history of this, you've been privy to it a couple years, but these two clubs never really been where we're at the top of the West. Just to see how that builds up for the league's purposes, obviously, to see these two LA clubs on level terms in excellence, so to speak, with regards to their position in the standings.
It's great. I think that's how everybody drew it up. So it's more exciting towards the end of the season, and in the playoffs it would be even better. But for right now, it's great. Both teams are on pace with each other and showing great signs and showing the ability to win away from home, the ability to win at home. Again, the Galaxy has been much more balanced this year, which has been great to watch, and compliments to them. But so have we, and so I'm looking forward to the match and interested to see what approach both teams take. I know what we'll do, but it's interested to see what they do, and we'll see how both teams react and recover and maybe adjust at halftime.
With the announcement of the All-Star games, what does that mean internally for you guys? Obviously, Denny's been there, but for Hugo, who's probably not experienced an All-Star game, to be able to announce that to them, what it brings to the club, and were they short a player, perhaps?
It's personal accolades and recognition is always great for the group. It's a compliment to the group. Denis winning the Golden Boot last year is also a hard work of the team, putting him in those positions. So those are always nice moments. It unfortunately falls at the wrong time. But again, I don't think what I say matters too much in those regards.
It does.
Not really.
Steve, do you, as an informed MLS observer, in addition to being a coach, is this the biggest rivalry in this league? And if so, what makes it that? And if not, what is the top?
For me, it is. Yeah, hands down. LA is a sports town, and you have one club who has won the most championships, I believe. Traditionally the best club over the 28-year span, I think it is. But you have LAFC of the last 7 years coming on very strong, and so that makes it really interesting. Yeah, I think the history of the fans too, the both fan groups, both being from LA, one from LA, the other from a little outside, but LA is pretty big, so I think we can say that. And I think that makes it very interesting. And for me, yes, the biggest rivalry.
Another question about derbies, if I can. Playing in Germany for as long as you did, I think Hanover's Eintracht Braunschweig
Yes.
was the biggest. As a player, what did these days preceding the match mean to you, and how do our derbies compare with the top level derbies in Europe?
Well, what I'm mostly looking forward to in this match is the intensity, which sometimes isn't always present over 90 minutes in some MLS matches. And that will be there for 90 minutes, the intensity, and we're preparing our players for that. And that's what pretty much every game in Europe feels like. The derbies, the one you spoke about, against our rival in Hanover, who we refer to as Peine Ost. We don't say the other name. And that is just a little more intense, certainly less football, not always fun to watch, but the intensity just goes up a little more. and there's very little risk in that game. So low risk, high intensity, much like the U.S. game last night against Uruguay. A lot of duels, a lot of battles, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to experiencing, feeling, and seeing a very intense match, and hopefully both teams bring it Thursday.
How was his pronunciation? The other
Very good, excellent, excellent.
Steve, with having won the first go around this season, do you put any stock in sort of making a statement over a rival? You know, you deny them, you guys get another 3 points, you're 2-0 against them. Does that have any factor for you for the rest of the season as it plays out?
I would say not yet. We're not close enough to the end that it makes that big of a difference. So I think maybe a little one, but not 100% yet, because we still have another one. So possibly two more.
Yeah. And for this week, you're going to play Houston on Sunday. You started the same lineup last match as you had the match before. Should we expect rotation for the Derby or for Houston? Where are you?
In one of them, for sure.
One of them for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
You would imagine that Houston, but is that not how you would look at it? It's more like just because you're playing Galaxy, you're not going to rotate necessarily, or how would you think of that?
We've been thinking about all options. So again, we can't lose sight that this is an MLS match and 3 points on the line, as well as in Houston. So we can't lose sight of where we are in the season. And yes, it's a derby, but there are points on the line now almost every 3 days. So we have to make sure that we are consistent in the way we gather points, whether that's away or at home or against the Galaxy or Houston, or what have you. But we have our eyes on both.